What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's a cool one. We're gonna do a 100-hour review here on the Kx100. This should be pretty comparable to the 85 and the 112 as well. They're very similar. Like, the only real differences is the jug, the cylinder jug. So as far as reliability goes, it should transfer over those as well. But yeah, first thing we should talk about is reliability. It's 100 pretty much maintenance-free hours. I mean, aside from oil changes and air filter, I haven't done anything. I hardly ever grease anything. I hardly ever bolt check anything, to be honest. And she's treated me pretty good. I mean, there's not really many complaints. So yeah, as far as reliability goes, it's held up really good in the Enduro environment. Yeah, I mean, everything's still tight too. Like, all suspension components tight, wheel bearings are all tight still. All the cables and everything still feel good too. Like, usually clutch cables will start feeling pretty crunchy and stuff after that much time. And I mean, that still feels great. Throttle still feels great. I mean, it still runs great too. It has the same amount of compression from what I can tell as it did brand new. So there's zero signs of like engine fatigue or anything like that. So that is pretty cool to see out of a small CC two-stroke, because everybody always says they're pretty unreliable, but I mean, I think this proves otherwise. And another thing we should probably talk about is how well has everything held up over those 100 hours of hard Enduro situation. To be honest, it's doing far better than I would think. Plastics are still really good shape. The cases aren't too scratched. I mean, there's definitely some scratches in the cases, but I've had worse in a shorter amount of time. Even the tires, they held up pretty good. The tire now is, the rear tire is like halfway done. The front one still looks brand new. So yeah, so as far as reliability and how everything is taking the abuse, I mean, I have zero complaints. I can't ask for any more out of this bike. Now, for complaints I might have, or issues I've had over those 100 hours, really the only issue, I can't even say I have any complaints, to be honest. The real only issue I've ever had was in the very beginning. I was running a caster two-stroke oil mix, and for whatever reason, that in the Enduro setting, it just kept fouling plugs. It was constantly an issue. So after I switched over to a non-caster two-stroke mix, it's been great, and I run a hotter plug too. Yeah, it's been good ever since I did that. So aside from like minor running issues in the beginning due to me, I mean, that's my fault, just because of running like the wrong oil and stuff for what I'm doing. But yeah, aside from that, it's been good. So as far as complaints or anything like that, I don't have any, and that's the only real issue I've had. Yeah, so figured I'd do a little close-up shot for you guys, and yeah, as you can see, it still looks really good for over 100 hours now. And to be honest, I figured it'd be a lot more beat up than it is, because I mean, if you watch the videos, you know there's plenty of times this bike's been down, and it's holding up great. I mean, I'll even insert the clip right here of when I got taken out and ran over. And look at that. It didn't even crack. No nothing. No scratches, really. So apparently the stock plastics are pretty beefy. And another thing I should probably touch on is, I always get this question, is this a good platform for Enduro, or like somebody starting out especially is a good one? Yeah, I really do think it's a great beginner bike and a good Enduro platform. I mean, for beginners, as long as you stay out of power band, it's very manageable, as of most two-strokes. That's where all the power is made, is in the top, of course. So as long as you stay in the lower RPM, anybody can handle this bike. And for the Enduro guys out there that want something with such a small seat height, which is, I needed that, I'm kind of short, so yeah, it's perfect for Enduro, to be honest. Again, I have zero complaints about that in the woods. I guess the only real complaint would be like wheel size compared to a full-size bike. The smaller wheels do make it more challenging to go over a lot of the obstacles, but I mean, that comes with the platform. It's either you go from this size or up to a full-size 125 or 250. So this is really the only in-between option as far as two-strokes that there is out there. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's physically smaller than a 125 because of like seat height reasons, this is a great platform. I highly recommend it for you Enduro guys out there. And that's 100 hours too of slipping on this factory clutch. That's another thing I should point out. The factory clutch is very robust, because there's plenty of times I have slipped the hell out of it, and it's still great. It still grabs where it originally did. So Yeah, zero complaints there. If you were to go get one, I would highly recommend for enduro riding, do not run a caster 2-stroke oil. Again, I had issues with that. And I would run a hotter spark plug too. If I remember, I'll put the what plug number it is up on the screen. But yeah, I would run that with a non-caster 2-stroke oil. Run it a little bit less oil to gas mixture, which is what I do for the tight stuff, and she should treat you pretty good. All right, enough of me talking. I'll switch you over to the helmet view, and we'll do a little bit of a trail rip. Ooh, first kick. Ooh, sliding. So yeah, man, like I was saying, it really is a good bike, and for the price point, you cannot beat it. I mean, I think I paid this one, I bought this one in, what was it? March, I think, of 2021. Yeah, March of 2021. And it was like $5,100 out the door. I mean, you cannot complain about that. Ooh, a little bit of water, I knew it. Little bump jump? So yeah, for the money you're paying, it really is a bargain for $5,000. I mean, there's clapped out used bikes for more than that. So to get something that's brand new, you just can't complain. You really can't. And she's a little ripper too. Very, very rarely am I ever like, wow, I wish I had more power. Honestly, the only time I've ever found myself like wishing I had more power is if you're in like a big sand pit. And that's just it is what it is, you know. I mean, that's horsepower shines in sand pits. So, but for everything else, zero complaints. Power is plenty, especially for an enduro application. Just go rip the highway real quick. So bump jump, you gotta love it. Just spinning. Oh, we're near somebody's house. I'll turn around. Oh, we're going right in the mud. Man, is she a little ripper. I love it. Rock field. Woo! Sideways. Yeah, so I think that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. I hope I answered some of your questions. I know when I was looking at this bike before I bought it, nobody really did like a longevity review on it. You know, you always hear nightmares with the small two-strokes that you're always gonna do pistons and everything else, but I mean, this thing is definitely proven otherwise. Again, I haven't done hardly any maintenance aside from oil changes and air filters, and she's treated me very well. So if you're worried about longevity, you know, if you take care of it even slightly, I think you'll be all right. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.
Take the mic and I rip it. Flow is always explicit. It doesn't matter who's listening. It doesn't matter who's dissing. Cause at the end of the day, my state of mind is always sunny like in WA. Oh, by the way, aren't you the guy with the Burger King rap? Yeah, that's me.